Hey, how you doing? It's Kwai here. In this video, we're going to be covering a book called Rejection Proof by Jia Jiang. And this book is all about how you can learn how you can overcome the fear of rejection so you can go and accomplish anything you want in life. So let's go. Rejection Proof: How I Beat Fear and Became Invincible Through 100 Days of Rejection by Jia Jiang. So you might have seen Jia Jiang do a TED Talk, and you might want to go out there and check out his TED Talk. It goes on about his 100 Days of Rejection, and this book really summarizes everything that he's spoken about in his TED Talk. So the first note that I found in chapter 1 was, simply put, I sold out my dream. That teenager walking on snow had to become next Bill Gates instead of becoming a marketing manager sitting quietly on a cozy little rung corporate ladder, miserably collecting good income. So this area, the first chapter, he just talks about how he's always dreamed about starting his own business. He's always dreamed about having his own company and becoming successful without working in a cubicle. So what happened was he was working corporate life and he was making good income, but then he quit his job to start his own business. And unfortunately, it didn't really pan out. He was trying to get investors. It just didn't really work out. And a lot of times when he just felt like giving up, at the end, about 2 months in, 3 months in, he got the phone call. It was a rejection. It was a no. They didn't want to invest in his company, and that was it. So she issued me a challenge. She told me to quit my job, take 6 months to start my company from scratch, work as hard as I could to build it. If by the end of that time I still had no traction, no investment, I would hop back onto the corporate ladder. So the wife was really supportive. The wife said that, you can start your business, but I'll give you 6 months. You can do whatever you want, but I'll give you 6 months. And that's really good. When I read that, I thought that was really good, because I think behind every successful person, you got to have a really supportive wife. 2 weeks after quitting, I walked out of that mammoth office building for the last time, saying goodbye to my salary, health benefits. So this story, he goes on about how he quit his job. He was getting paid quite a lot of money, but he quit his job because he just felt like he wasn't achieving much in his life, and it was really hard for him to do. Then I clicked it open. It was a short email that says, so what he did was, during the 6 months when he was trying to make it big in his new business, he was talking to a lot of investors, and he got a reply back from an investor, and it was a letter. He opened it up, and the investor said no. So that was his first rejection, and that was very painful. So basically, the book shares with you his stories about his journey about seeking rejection. So what happened was, in the very first one, he just talks about my first and second rejection attempts have changed my perspective, but the third attempt had transformed my mindset. So what happened was, when he started his business, he just wanted to start it because he wanted to make the money. But then over time, he started experimenting. He thought that it was really tricky for him to go out there, talk to investors, to get rejected. And then he decided to do more of that. He wanted to feel that rejection, tried to overcome it. So therefore, he came up with an idea of 100 days of rejection. He's going to go out there, seek rejection, and get rejected for the next 100 days, and also record it as well. So then he started to experiment with different types of scenarios to deal with rejection. So what happened was, he started to approach a security guard to ask for $100. He wanted to just approach a stranger and ask for $100, and a lot of people said no, but there was one security guard that said yes. And he said that it's crazy what can happen if you just ask. To my shock, I received a reply from one of Tony's assistants. It turned out that Tony had heard about my story and liked my videos. So one of the most profound stories in the book was when he went into Dunkin' Donuts and he approached a waiter, and he asked the waiter to create an Olympic style donut. So he wanted to connect all the donuts together, and he was really scared to ask this at the time. But the waitress at Dunkin' Donuts was really supportive and said, how do you want to do it? Did you want to do it like that? Did you want sprinkles and all those type of things? And he said, yeah, sure. Yeah, I want the sprinkles. So he's surprised. The waitress actually went back into Dunkin' Donuts, put together the donuts, and then brought it out exactly the way he wanted. And he recorded that, and he posted it online, and it received millions of views, and a lot of people were touched, and a lot of people was really touched because of that waitress was so friendly, so humble, so helpful. The founder of Zappos, whose name is Tony Hsieh, I think, he was one of the biggest fans of that particular video, and he actually asked Jia to come in and become one of his assistants because he liked one of his videos, which is really cool. Oh, there was also another rejection challenge, which was what he did was he wanted to read the welcoming announcements to be on the plane. So what Gia did was when he was on a plane, he approached the stewardess and said, "Would you mind if I just welcomed the crew in, as you normally would?" And to his surprise, they said yes. So what he did was he was really nervous, doing it while people were walking in, while people were sitting in the chairs and putting the seatbelts together. Some were distracted, some were paying attention. He actually picked up the microphone and said, welcome to this particular airline. We hope you enjoy your flight. And it was really amazing experience for him. So that was really good. A lot of people didn't care, but a few other people said that was really courageous. Another note, I never really thought about other people's fear of rejection, but the more people told me how they could relate to my experience, the more I realized that fear of rejection wasn't rare disease, or it was a normal human condition. Now I was hearing from people who, like me, viewed rejection as something so painful, so personal, so negative, that rather not ask for things, rather than conform to the norm, rather just avoid the possibility of rejection. So this is another insight that he found when it came to rejection, was that a lot of people relate to you when you're going through a lot of rejection. So if people see you get rejected, you might be thinking you're the only one, but a lot of people can relate to that because a lot of other people are getting rejected. So in a way, it sort of like brings people closer to other people. If you're getting rejected, it's bringing yourself closer to other people as well. There's also a book called The Top Regrets of the Dying, written by an Australian nurse named Bronnie Ware. I think I recorded a video on this many years ago, but this is a really great book. An Australian nurse in palliative care. What she did was she was around a lot of patients who were dying, and she interviewed a lot of these patients before they died and asked them, what were your top 5 regrets? And a lot of them said that, I wish I had the courage to live life true to myself, not the life others expected of me. So that was a really powerful. It just goes to show that with rejection, a lot of people don't do things because they fear that rejection. A lot of people are so scared of rejection. And that book, Top Regrets of the Dying, it really hones down on the point that a lot of people had that fear, and therefore they didn't take action. They didn't do the things that they wish they could have done. So they wish they had that courage to do that thing that they've always wished they could have done. So imagine if you overcame that fear of rejection and you went out there and you did all the things that you would have done. I don't think that you would live a life filled with regret. You would live a life that would be filling, and that would feel that you've accomplished a lot of things in life. Maybe you can't do everything, but you can do a lot of the things that you wish you could have done. This is even more reason why simply saying don't take it personally is useless advice for anyone feeling rejected. The proverbial slap in the face we feel after rejection isn't proverbial after all. So it is true, when we get rejected, a lot of people will say that, oh, don't take it personally. You know, they're not rejecting you, they're rejecting the product or the service, whatever it is. And yeah, it does make logical sense, but emotionally, it's not real. It does hurt. You know, let's just face facts. It does hurt. I do cold calling every day. I'm in sales. I get rejected all the time. I got hung up yesterday, actually. And I know that they don't. It's not about me. It's just because they're not interested to talk about my product, right? They're not interested. But to say that don't take it personally, it doesn't work. You know, you do take it personally. It does hurt. Okay, it does hurt. Just accept it. Okay, you can overcome it. You can manage it. But I don't think you can ever overcome it 100%, you know? So you do take some of it personally. And just accept that. Just accept that. It does sting a bit. But you can manage it. You can deal with it. But it does sting. Yeah, this was a really good point. So he recites the movie Wall Street, the latest one. And Jacob says, what's your number? Brenton says, excuse me. And Jacob says, the amount of money you would need to be able to walk away from it all just to live happily ever after. See, I find that everyone has a number, and it's usually the exact number. So what's yours? Brenton with the ruthless smile replies, more. So through my rejection experiments, I began to realize that I often get a yes simply by talking to enough people. So I've discovered this in sales myself, is that whenever I'm making cold calls, whenever I'm calling these leads and so forth, I get a lot of no's, but there's always one person that says yes. I can show you my whiteboard right now. I've got all the dials, the connects and meetings, how many people I speak to, how many no's I get, and how many people say yes. And this is absolutely true. Rejection has a number. So if you really want to get a yes, you have to go through the number of rejections. You're probably going to get rejected. You're going to get rejected a lot more than you're going to get. So always remember, is that if you ever want to get a yes, you're going to get rejected a lot more. And it's good to tally this up. It's good to just record how many no's you got to get that yes, and rejection has a number. So Gia finishes up the book with a really powerful quote that says, after endless mountains and rivers that leave doubt whether there is a path out, suddenly one encounters the shade of a willow, what bright flowers, and a lovely village. And throughout his 100 days of rejection journey, Gia always remembers that quote, is that no matter all those mountains and rivers that you encounter, all those rejections, all that pain and frustration that you go through, there's always that silver lining. There's always that little glimmer of hope. There's always that little good essence that you can glean from that experience. And just imagine that as you're trekking through the woods, as you're climbing this mountain, as you're going through all this pain and frustration of trying to trek all this traverseous mountains and rivers and so forth, you will come across a nice village. You will come across this beautiful bed of flowers, and it will be absolutely phenomenal, right? So that's what you need to remember, is that as you're going through this rejection, it will be painful, it will be frustrating, right? But in that experience, you'll find something. You'll find something beautiful. You'll come across a smile. You'll come across someone that will meet you, that will greet you, that will say yes. That someone that will help you along your journey towards that yes, right? So I think that this book by Gia Jiang, Rejection Proof, is a really powerful book for anyone who really wants to overcome the fear of rejection. I think everyone wants to overcome that fear of rejection. And rejection to me is the thing that I work on every single day. And I think that by reading this book, it's a really powerful book because it's filled with stories. It's filled with really great, fascinating stories that you can read, remember, and ultimately help you overcome that fear of rejection, so you can get out there and achieve the life of your dreams. So I hope you like this video. Please like, subscribe, and I'll see you guys next one. Cheers.